Don't forget, post announcement.
Oh my gosh. I just went live and you're like, don't forget. I'm in the middle of my YouTuber intro thing. I say the greetings and welcome thing, and everyone's like, yes, that's what Joffrey does. That's his thing.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Greetings and welcome. Make sure
you get all the notifications.
Smash that like button and kiss the comment section. Yeah. Fine.
Kiss the ring finger.
The ring finger of the comment section. Respectfully. As you would your liege.
Don't worry, Joffrey, you can say the intro now.
Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey the Partner, and with me today is Darkest Light and Vector Maximus. Today we are discussing the newest Tinto talk. This one is about the cabinet. I have been informed that apparently this one is very short, even though it is an incredibly important topic.
It is just a short, sweet, succinct advertisement for IKEA. They're advertising their cabinets.
It is shorter than a map diary.
Wow. The map diaries, for some reason, always end up being the longest podcast, so I don't know.
Well, because you can stare at a map and yap for hours. Like, we don't.
And you can't? We have sat in the Realms in Exile developer channels and just talked about the Bay of Ormal for far longer than either of us would like to admit. But so that doesn't happen.
A lot of that is lore talk, not just map talk.
All right. Yeah, yes. The happy Wednesday where we talk about the top secret, much unannounced game referred to as Project Caesar. Yes. Why am I getting a headache now? God damn it!
Because you haven't posted the announcement yet.
I won't. You know what? I just won't.
Don't. Fine.
How about that?
I'll post it in general.
You won't.
I'll do it.
No, you won't.
Damn, I don't have permission. Guess I have to do what that one guy did and just at everybody one at a time.
Anyway, the cabinet is one of the core functionalities in this game. Covering areas which previous games have been handling with envoys or mana, which may not have scaled nicely. The cabinet in Project Caesar is a core part of many aspects of the game. Very curious. I will save the speculation for once I've read it, though, because I know as soon as I open my mouth and start going, I wonder what this means. How could you? Vector will say, stop, read, they'll tell you.
Get the pertinent information, then speculate.
Watch the game actually just be something completely new in this. It was from 1337 to 1997. Yeah, that would be absurd.
You know what? I think that's a good take. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yes. Agreed. I can't wait to see planes pop up in the late game. The scope of the Grey Eminence. Well, I mean, the only thing better than the Grey Eminence is the Virtuoso Arbitrator, which Dark loves. Dark loves the Virtuoso Arbitrator.
As we know, the Virtuoso Arbitrator's silver tongue can charm the hardest hearts and open the most barricaded of doors.
Last week we talked about characters, and we inferred roles like generals, admirals, rulers, and regents. We also mentioned two roles we were not so ready to talk about as well, being in a cabinet. While being a good use of a character, it's not one of these roles, okay? So you still have two other things to look forward to. What are they then? They're going to be like, daimyos. That's the super secret thing that daimyos are, is just another character. Oh.
Yep.
Ooh. Can you trust Sir Robert?
So, for reference, this dude, based on the comments in the dev diary, because I didn't actually know this. Apparently, he's somebody from France who defected to the Plantagenets, and he's sometimes fingered as the person responsible for triggering the 100 Years' War.
Sieur Robert de Artois. Okay. I mean, we've got very French, like, yeah, very like I mean, he's got the C, and then right next to him is Sir Ralph. Sir Ralph Neville. Just instantly goes. You go between Sieur Robert de Artois, and then you get Sir Ralph Neville. Sir Ralph Neville. The French spelling is wrong.
Immediately, why the English should have won. I mean, their names are just so much better.
all my homies love Ralph Neville.
Who can stand against Ralph? Who can stand against the power of Ralph and Isengard?
Robert.
Robert de Artois.
Yeah, I suppose Robert would be Isengard in this weird analogy. Ralph would be Mordor.
Ralph is a traitor.
Oh, like Robert from movie The King. No. No, don't call it movie The King.
Okay, is this a reference I don't get?
The King is a movie. But it's about the 100 Years' War, although this is not the same Robert, because I'm pretty sure that one is about the Battle of Agincourt, which is way after this.
Way in the future.
And the whole point of that movie is they just show how shit knights are and how it's not glorious at all and everything's awful and sucks.
I mean Robert here.
Agincourt would be the place to show it off, because I mean, you had the whole flower of French chivalry basically dead from peasant longbowmen. So,
I mean, compared to goddamn Edward III, here. Robert ain't looking so hot. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe Robert ain't all that. He's cracked up.
They're about to have an epic duel, and then he just slips in the mud while he's wearing his heavy plate, and the rest of the peasants go and beat him up with clubs until he's dead.
Rest in peace, Robert.
Glorious chivalry on display.
Wonder if Edward gets some stats from his counselors. I doubt it. I doubt that your stats get improved by counselors. It's probably quite simply that he is goated with the sauce.
I like how England has gone from starting with a 0-0-0 in 1444 to this.
Yeah. I said it.
Edward III, and then we got the Black Prince before he kind of went a little crazy.
Oh,
so
boy.
He's
still a child at this point, I think.
He is, but
there's a child right there. 8-year-old child right there.
Oh, there he is.
The Black Prince.
So, we mentioned it last week when we talked about character stats, and I was talking about how, like, you know, in EU4 you go, I love this character and how he's I got this great 666 ruler. I'm already just I'm waiting for the launch of EU5 when people are like, yes, England is so OP because they have a 24-year-old ruler who starts as a 769. Gets all the mill tech out now. I'm sure that tech is handled very differently than just whatever your character's stats are.
I think, Trig, that might be an icon that leads to a Wikipedia article. It's quite the possibility, because that could be a link.
The thing that looks like a sideways Steam symbol? I think that's the family tree.
Yeah,
it could be.
Based off the comments from Johan, I believe that since he says that number is how many heirs there are to the title at present, I think that's the line of succession.
Oh,
that is a very strange looking line of succession.
That
looks like what a link button would be.
Kind of makes me think of the Steam icon, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, as I was saying, it looks like it's the sideways Steam icon. I guess Edward isn't married, or maybe he is married and you need to click on this symbol to see his spouse? I don't know. And then there's a calendar. I don't know what the calendar do, but maybe we'll find out the answers to some of these things.
I got no idea.
It's the heir, but the number's how many people are in the line to inherit.
That's age of the heir.
I would love that number to be the age, but I based on what Vector's saying, I guess it isn't.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the heir's age isn't that important, but I suppose why have them here at all if you're not going to list any information about them?
Well, I'm assuming you can hover over them and get more info.
Oh,
Or you
probably, yeah. And then if you click to them, it probably brings you to where they are in the family tree as well. So it's still good. The math don't work. Why don't the math work? The calendar gives you time travel abilities? Yes. That makes perfect... I get that, yeah. He was born when Edward was 16?
People
So
married
he's
younger
saying
back
that
then,
it doesn't
Trick.
make sense for the heir, that 8 to refer to the Black Prince's age, because... No, wait. That'd work. If he was born when...
Let me see how old
Oh,
he was.
wait.
at this time.
How old was the Black Prince compared
He
to
was
Edward III?
born in 1330.
So he would be 7 years old at this start date. So yeah, it can't be.
It's pretty close, though. I don't know. Ooh.
Yo, he
Ooh.
was born June 1330. So he'd be 6, maybe 7, depending on the day.
I think it just starts at January 1st, 1337. So.
Then he'd be 6, turning 7 later that year.
Mm-hmm. Which
No,
lines up with Johan's comments, so.
Vanilla CK3 does not have plate armor. No, Gimalt. The size of your cabinet varies depending on several factors. The most important, though,
it's possible, Trig. I thought it was just January, but it's possible it might be March that we start. Even still, doesn't change the Black Prince's age much.
The most important factor for your cabinet, though, is how advanced your country is. At the start of the game, most countries will have a cabinet size of 2, while every age will add at least 1. Some government reforms or laws may also grant a bigger cabinet size for some other drawbacks. Who will you pick for your cabinet matters as well. Each cabinet member from an estate gives plus 10% power to that estate, and it may not always be ideal to have a cabinet member of the wrong religion or bad culture. Yeah, I'm surprised. No matter how great they are. One example includes the fact that the Pope might be upset if you employ a heretic as a Catholic ruler. There are currently 45 different actions that can be assigned to a cabinet position. And more are added as the game develops. Oh wow, 45 just to start with? Some of these are always available, and some require more advances.
Yeah, they mention farther on that probably about half of the cabinet tasks are tied to government form, tags, and culture and religion. So general council activities are only going to be like 25.
Oh god, I forgot that the start date is going to be on April 1st.
Happy April Fools.
There, some require advances, some unique that only a few have access to. Each action belongs to one of 3 categories: administrative, diplomatic, or military, which determines which attribute is used for it. Some actions impact the entire country, and some impact a province.
I can't wait to play as Granada and have a Jew for my vizier and have a military coup and civil war.
because of the Jew as your vizier, everyone gets mad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having difficulty remembering his name right now, but it was a historical situation in, well, it was in Cordoba, so I believe it was still Al-Andalus then, but it was essentially Granada.
Expel people.
I might be having the timelines for Muslim Spain muddled a little.
This is very interesting. I am very curious. Monthly developments, you just, you make your development go up, however development works.
So they're like the CK3 council.
I suppose.
Kinda, yeah.
It like so perhaps they're like the CK3 council, but I suppose maybe they'll explain later on whether or not this is a global factor or whether this is something you target a region with.
I believe they say that it's something you target a region with. Some of these things are universal tasks, and some are targeted. So I think that
develop
they
province.
Are basically a mix of CK3 Council and EU4 advisors.
Mm-hmm. So because you have like counter espionage, which obviously that's just your country. Develop province, you're picking a province to develop, and then you have I suppose encouraging or expelling and control. Those are probably things again that you target a specific region for. These are very curious to me. Because
Johan has already said what next week's topic is going to be, and it's going to be all about migration.
Oh! Well, as we know, I need to know all of the meta strats for migration to make my Sigma Israel in Andorra work. So
yeah, Jewish Andorra.
Yeah.
Right.
Evie already commented on it, yeah, before I said it. Evie knew, yep. Encourage migration project and encourage migration project Andorra is a go. Yep, just time to build all of the structures that make people want to move there as well, and it's golden.
And if anybody non-Jewish migrates, that's when you use the expel minorities.
You swap over to expel people. Allows I love it. This is very interesting because you have it. Wow, I love expelling people. Allows peasants to migrate. Yes.
Do it, no balls. I dare you. Clip it.
But allows peasant to migrate, and then migration attraction goes down, but the speed goes up. That is very interesting to me because this is as I know we talked about migration multiple times before and speculations on it where peasants aren't exactly free to just go. They can't just wander around. So you probably are only going to be attracting burghers or tribes somehow. That doesn't make sense though. But that's very interesting then that you have this button like allows peasants to migrate. You toggle that on and peasants will leave. They will be able to. And then it makes people not want to be there. So then I imagine what happens then is the people that want to leave are probably like the people who already have less of a desire to stay and are more likely to migrate out are the people that feel less wanted, like and less accepted by your country. So if you put this on, then it enables peasants of wrong culture, wrong religion to leave because they probably want to already to a degree. The meta for Castile and Aragon will be to expel people for a century, quite possibly. However, I imagine there is probably because that's historically what they did a lot of, but I imagine that somewhere in here is religious and or cultural conversion ones where you toggle those on, and you probably would want to do that more than expelling because pops are going to be super important. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the meta actually is. I bet. I think it's going to be conversion, Gamal. Wait, see who's right.
There's going to be any sort of either decisions or events for Castile to do its historic gamer moves. You convert or you leave. And then they spend the next 3 centuries hunting down people that said they converted, but no, we think you actually didn't convert.
What the? got an email from work. Just
This hour?
very brief. Yeah, this hour. This is like the latest they could have possibly sent me this message. So I just need to double check something quick on my phone, which is in fact plugged in. Oh, great. Well, I'll just keep looking towards that. Increasing control in a single province may be good, but it is a single province. How efficient is a cabinet action then? The relevant attribute from a ruler and the cabinet member has a big impact, but your societal values, laws, reforms, and even some estate privileges can affect it, not to mention your crown power. Alright, that's all I need to see. Crown power. I think they mentioned crown power at some point before, but I don't think they mentioned anything about what it does.
They haven't given us any details, but I believe the term has been brought up before, yes.
Just reforms and some estate privileges can affect it. So giving the estates more privileges to some degree while having a person on your cabinet from that estate might be beneficial then, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I can imagine if you're playing the Pope and you've got tons of privileges for your clergy, you would want to stack your cabinet full of priests, probably. And just hope you find a priest who's good with military.
Instituting direct rule from the pontifical hat.
Direct rule from the pontifical hat, even though it's in Avignon.
Mm-hmm. That's why the rule is from the hat and not from Rome.
Yes, wherever the hat be. It's gonna be fun. I want to play the Pope for sure in this. Do anything interesting to unpack here? 33 Magnus. King, the king, the crown powers, he doesn't have much authority. Royal marriage rights. Effective skill of expelling pops from Upland? Who is he kicking out of Upland? What?
The Swedes,
Danes.
obviously.
Oh. Has to be the Dane.
What the hell? What? How are there like any minorities in Upland? What? Like,
This doesn't say, I don't think this says expelling minorities. This says expelling pops.
yes, but I can't. What would be the point of doing this if you're not trying to get rid of people you don't want? Do you want to make the city smaller? Upland's just like a town to start with, I think they said.
Maybe you don't want an urban center.
True. You wonder how the control in Rome will look with the capitals in Avignon? Probably horrible, and it's probably a big deal as the Pope to try and get yourself back in Rome without having France bitch slap you. So, yeah. I imagine that it would be a big... Like, I know what I'd want to do as the Pope is move myself to Rome and then make Avignon a vassal so that I don't need to deal with trying to control it, even though it's all the way over there.
Moving back to Rome, if I recall, is what causes the schism.
Yeah, the French
Because
aren't
the
too
French,
happy.
yeah, the French didn't want the Pope to go back to Rome.
Since the task just decreases migration attraction, you don't think it's expelling. I imagine that it was it was a base of 2, and this is this is with a 30% effectiveness. So this is like, I don't know how good that is, but like this has boosted it from like the base of 2 to 2.6, and then even further 65% increase to migration speed. So this probably what this does, I bet that 2.6 migration attraction is a big deal. I bet that is a very large number, and it probably will make people that were already wanting to leave fast, and people that didn't want to, like, I don't know, but I bet it gets people moving is the point.
Please come to Brazil.
Yes. you wonder how they will make expelling pops actually something you want to do, because you imagine it's pretty hard to make fun just having debuffs from angry pops fun to play. Well, Chase, I imagine that I imagine that it's a quite simply well, okay, wait. You're saying you wonder how they'll make expelling pops actually something you want to do, but then you proceed to say a reason why you'd want to do it. Because you're saying you wonder why you would want to do it, but then in your second sentence you say, because I imagine it's pretty hard to make fun just having debuffs from angry pops fun to play. Well, that's your reason. It's not fun to have a bunch of pops being angry, so you want to either accept them, expel them, or convert them. And those are your reasons. Yeah. But that isn't really fun to play. Well, I don't know what... I don't know what to tell you then.
I'm assuming the major reasons you'll want to expel populace is much like real world reasons, which is ethno and religious homogeneity. Because
it's probably where
expel, like Spain, expel the Muslims so that they can't rebel and cause problems for you.
Yeah, I imagine that it's a case of like places like Spain where you've taken over a large region with lots of people that aren't your accepted religion or culture, and it's not really feasible for you to just effectively convert all of them. So unless Spain has a game remove button where they say get out or convert, and then you hunt down the people who only pretended to convert, it's probably more effective to press the expel button and lose a lot of pops. So you in the real game, no real game in the grand strategy genre has managed to implement this well, if you're being honest. Well, I think that this is going to be a good implementation of it, because okay, if you want my opinion on what makes it fun, like what is the fun in bloody expelling pops? I think the fun comes from the question, do I want to? The fun is, I have this problem, how do I deal with it? Do I deal with, and you have 3 options, and I think that makes it interesting. It's not that it makes expelling itself the fun option, it's that you have options and you choose one of them. And that action, and then seeing the problem solved, is where the dopamine spike comes from. Because you're like, well, gee willikers, I have conquered this region. I've conquered Jutland as someone in Germany, and there's too many Danes. Now, the better example is like the Teutonic Order conquers pagan Lithuania, and it's like, well, there's too many gosh darn pagans here. And it's like, well... Do you convert them over time and have them rebel over and over again? Do you accept them? No, you can't do that for the Teutonic Order. Things like that, and it makes you think. And this is why I'm rambling, because I like these questions.
I'm going to be just very honest with myself, and I just like seeing my culture color spread across the map.
Yes. Culture and religious color go. So B France culture conversion button over all of the other French cultures now. Beep.
It is all Francien.
Yes, always has been. The talk today is about the cabinet, Aiden.
And this is also the end of the Tinto talk already.
No way.
Yes,
Effective skill of expelling pops. Holy shit.
That's it.
We told you it was short.
Holy fuck.
It's not even half an hour in.
Speaking of migration, we have reached half an hour and we've done the actual talk itself. Holy. If you want to leave Stockholm, winter is not enough. I love
how concise we are tonight. Johan, you need to give us less information more often.
No.
I wish they talked about some of those bits where he mentioned later about government reforms and whatnot, potentially adding cabinet slots. It feels like information that should have been in the dev diary rather than in comments afterwards.
But it is in comments afterwards?
Yeah. A little.
Johan was lazy this week. Well, let us see then. That's fucking short. That is 1 1/3 of like a Word document. And I'm used to that. Well, yeah, I was here expecting, like, I don't know. It's a mere 2 pages. Well, how big can your cabinet get? 8 to 10 is the max size we aim for. I imagine that some people's cultural, like, no, not culture. It's, well, you have your essentially national ideas. They've mentioned them before. Your traditions of some sort, which I imagine some. Yeah, that's what they showed. The French traditions gives you extra Diplo slots, which is fun. I'm probably going to play France a lot because they get more Diplo, which means that you can make more vassals. And I will make all of the vassals, yes. Exact opposite of CK3s. Yeah, CK3s was probably like 4 pages, at least. 5, maybe even Word document pages worth of shit. Good shit, though. But it drained me. 8 to 10 is the size we aim for. Yeah. The AI does not have to be good at this. But please tell me we can automate these. No, this is not automated. What do you why do you want it to be automated? What do you want your cabinet to be automated?
I'm assuming in this context they're talking about, because it's the only way I could see this working, is like it will automatically change what tasks they're doing based on what would be most effective, but even that I don't see really working, because what is best in a particular situation is so subjective.
Yeah, I don't want. I wouldn't want my cabinet being managed like the goddamn AI is doing it, because I mean they could. It would be pretty easy for them, all things considered, to like give you a button that would say auto manage the cabinet. My guy, why would you want to? What? That's
I mean, there are some days where I'm feeling lazy. I wouldn't mind the option. I don't think I'd use it very often, but it hurts nothing to have the option.
These things look super important. Like, what? And what? Like, oh yeah, just let the cabinet manage itself, and it's like, oh, they spent the last 50 years on counter espionage, and you want it, but you've been trying to convert this county to your religion, or you are trying to increase your relations with this country or something. It's like, no, they do so many important things. They combine, it's like mushing together all sorts of important features from different games. It's like, oh my god, I love the way this system sounds, by the way. I didn't convey that because it kind of came to such an abrupt end. I didn't like, it didn't feel natural to just sit down and be like, damn, this is pretty cool, man. Because it is. I think it's pretty cool. I like how this is basically going to function as like in the state actions in EU4, for example, because it's like takes state actions from EU4 and then counselor tasks in CK3 and then mushes them together, and that's cool. Yes. Again, I ask, will there be the option to hide characters?
No.
Yep, the characters are going to be a whole thing. I don't mind these pictures half as much as I used to.
Yeah, see, and this is where I'm like, okay, I can deal with the 3D characters if they're showing up just in like these contexts. It's like, I don't care.
These ones are way better than the ones they showed in that family tree thing as well. I actually kind of like these ones.
Was just ugly.
Edward looks kind of nice. Robert is a haggard motherfucker, but I mean that's kind of the point with him. I think. And Ralph here, I like his fit. I like his fit. He's got a nice cap, nice face. He doesn't look like a bug-eyed freak, which Robert kind of does. He kind of looks a little whack, but that's okay. You could have some people looking a little whack. He's not exactly a good character after all. But Ralph here looks like he looks pretty good, is my point. It's pretty feasible. He's got a lot more definition to him as well, which I suppose is because, I mean, Edward III's only 24, so. What's up with hiding characters? A lot of people don't like them. A lot of people don't like the characters and they want to get rid of them. As for myself, all I'm concerned about, because I have said it before, is like the only reason that I'm concerned about 3D characters is for my sake as a modder. But I'm sure that once I get my hands on the code, I'll be able to find a way to easily either turn them off or replace them with some other piece of 2D art I can scrounge up. The characters being too blurry, Ralph looks kind of blurry, but the rest of these guys are kind of. I don't think there's blur to the other guys. Strategy game. If you don't make any strategic decision to let the AI handle it, I mean, yeah, fair enough. But that's what you're speaking about is kind of what playing Victoria 3 is often like. So, I mean, they look like when I try to see people without my glasses. Well, was that when I was just zoomed in, or is that now? Because like this is more the resolution we're actually talking about.
They do look a little fuzzy, which I think is fine, honestly. It's more of an effect than a.
I look forward to seeing what moddable options we have for these character images.
Exactly, yeah. I am somewhat concerned that when it comes to trying to modify them or replace them, it's not going to be easy, or because like the fact that they're Dark, because they're using it like the CK3 kind of like DNA thing, and I don't imagine that it would be easy to take something like that and then, like, I don't know, insert like 50 AI generated 2D images of dudes, and you're like, oh, this is like the image for the elves. These are like the 50 images for the elves, and it cycles through them. I kind of doubt that it would be something where you could include something like that, which scares me, because it makes me think that it might be a case where we would just straight up need to turn them off, and that would be not the greatest. So, people want to be easier to modders to replace 3D with 2D. Yeah. Oh yeah, the crown I don't like at all. This is just a lower res version of the CK3 crown. Yeah. Same generic CK3 Imperial crown indeed. But yeah, the only example we've got in CK3, for example, of a 2D character is Muhammad. And I don't exactly think that you can go into CK3's code and like make an ethnicity and just say, oh yeah, this ethnicity, it randomly chooses between all of these images. I don't think that's something you could do.
Theoretically, I think it could work. It would take some testing, though.
Maybe it's something I should look into sometime to brace myself, because the code for that's probably going to be somewhat similar between CK3 and EU. Oh boy. Yes, I do not like the crown either. Oh, I hope that sometime by release they will have done some, because I'm just a little scared that people have been bitching about the wrong stuff in regards to the 3D characters, and that it's going to harm modders in the long run, because if people were more nice and considerate in the ways that they're discussing the topic of 3D characters, then maybe Johan and friends would be more willing to make some concessions, and just put in a little bit more modability for it. But I just ugh. Alright. You gotta go, Chase. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. You have a good time with whatever it is you're up to. See you around. Oh gosh. I love just the war, the comment war. Just look at all the people, the likes, thumbs up, disagree, helpful, love, respectfully disagree. I hope there will be an option to execute.
Very respectful. After a while.
I don't think I don't think that a lot of people are respectfully disagreeing with, and I respect their choice. Yeah, I respect their choice if they decide to not give us the option. But yeah, I just want it to be easier to code with. Option to execute all cabinet, not planned, but sometimes you feel like off with their heads. Yes. Yes, you get a laughing response, Johan. What is the maximum number?
Laugh.
Yeah. Can we expel people from certain areas or invite migration from specific areas, or is it a blanket thing? If you get the effects of cabinet tasks immediately, looking at the diplomat specifically, was to stop you from grabbing the modifier, completing whatever you want to do, and then switching to something else. Yes, those are per province, and not all cabinet actions instantly have an impact. They may take a while. So I guess, yeah, perhaps some of them are a stacking bonus that slowly builds up as they take effect. That would be neat. I kind of like that. Including, I actually really, the more I think about it, especially in regards to things like expelling people, inviting people, converting, all of those things, especially, I like the idea of that being a stacking thing where over time the efficiency of it goes up the longer that the task has been going on. So people like over time,
people out.
Yeah, over time you get more efficient at kicking people out, or over time more people learn that you're trying to bring people to this city, or over time the priests get more entrenched and better at converting and such. So until eventually you get to that full modifier. And that it will prevent, yes, that will also help prevent people constantly just swapping all your modifiers. Yes, how exactly, I went Skaven for a second there. Yes, how exactly will develop province work in the context of the game? Yes. It makes development tick up in a Johan, what does that mean? What does that mean?
There's more comments about development that follow.
Does English constitutional monarchy get an extra cabinet member? The what? Does England have a constitutional monarchy yet? I think they have more bullshit to go through before they do that.
Magna Carta was signed, so
really?
Point, so.
Oh.
1215.
I thought that was a long time later for some reason.
We've already had Robin Hood and Prince John and King Richard. So.
Oh yeah. Silly me. Is there cost to removing cabinet
member? Go back
member?
and watch more Disney.
Yes, I will go watch Disney now. Is there cost to removing a cabinet minister and situations when you're forced to keep one? It costs gold to assign a new one. It costs ability to replace one. Ooh, you gotta be real careful then. You know, yes,
no pulling in Aenies and kicking out your very competent Hand of the King with no repercussions. Oh wait, there were repercussions. Never mind.
How do we pick cabinet members? Are they in a pool of 3 like EU4? You pick from any eligible character. If busy with other things, they can't. And some estates may be blocked from cabinets.
Greg, I can't believe you'd say that Disney is not 100% historically accurate. My childhood has lied to me.
England never ruled by a lion.
I think that's pretty accurate. Were you from back in that day, Trig?
Next, you'll tell me that Jesus didn't also have a persona that looked like a lion.
I'm pretty sure that Robin Hood was a fox. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
you didn't live in that time, Trig. You don't know.
I don't care. I don't care what the history books tell you. Robin Hood was a fox.
Oh God, that's what you're referencing.
But I imagine here what he's not giving anything away, but I imagine it's just I imagine it's just a case of you have a pool of characters represented as being from the different estates, and plus your noble family. I mean, and your family is considered, if you're like, if you have a royal family, if you're a feudal country, then I imagine that your whole family is considered part of the noble estate as well. For example,
I'm now disappointed that we never got to see the French king on crusade in Robin Hood Trig, since you mentioned that, because they would absolutely make him into a frog.
You're right. That is a real shame. 45 cabinet actions is a lot to do. No, not all are things you'd pick, and over 50% you will not see, as they are tag, culture, reform, or religion specific. Yes. Yes, fun.
Wait,
I'm sure.
just wait, is that like quadruples over the course of DLC?
Yes, I am
But
looking
wait,
forward to it.
what is this? What is this? You know, tailored content. This isn't a universal mechanic. Isn't this bad?
Yeah, honestly,
Yes.
you're right.
This is bad. We don't want the Incas having unique cabinet actions to increase control even better. That's bad. We or
I'm
so, I
of
don't
the
know what would they
opinion that
have.
we need to get rid of the content designers and only have mechanic designers.
Yas Queen. It's been so long since I read the post that you're referencing. I don't even bloody remember where I'd find it anymore. Well, some countries have laws preventing heretics from accessing the throne. Yeah, I think they did say that, I think, earlier. They mentioned something about how religion can, that like different countries will have different succession laws, and they pretty sure they mentioned that religion is one of them.
Semi-Salic, so they mentioned.
But I think they also mentioned religion, and so, yeah. Yes. They don't want any Cathars on the throne of France, but I'll see to it. I'll see to it that it happens. Just you wait.
Soon the Nestorians will reveal themselves to the Jedi.
Yes, the Nestorian Council reveals itself, and they have overtaken the papacy. Yes.
Sorry, Trig, but most of us are, including myself, we're getting booted so we can hire 5 more Yakos.
Yes. Can you imagine
Honestly,
5
I'm
Yakos?
mildly terrified by the output of 5 more Yakos.
Yeah, what would that do? They would break a hole in the space-time continuum or something. One of them would pose the idea.
Would, like, result in them creating like an AI using CK3 code.
Yeah, oh gosh, if you took 5 of them, 5 Yakos, and put them in a voice call together, and the ideas they would come up with, and all collectively shake hands and say, "Yes, this is what we're going to dedicate the entire summer to," would be a little terrifying.
And none of it would be localized.
None of it would be localized.
Yeah, they keep me on staff simply to be a localization slave.
I like that they say you say they would keep you on staff because you would just control everything. Everything would bend to their whim.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would take control pretty damn quick.
None can handle the power.
The 5 Yako coup.
Yes.
Rick's got a good point, though. The ring quest would be done very quickly.
That's not wrong. All right, Trig, then go find us 4 more Yakos. Head off to South Africa. Off to South Africa you go. You must find them.
I have seen it.
It's the 8 number of Dynasty. 8 is how many eligible characters can inherit the throne. Does that mean... what? Eligible characters. Does that mean just like in the entire line of succession? Is that like including brothers and nephews?
So
and
what
stuff?
happens if that number's 0 and then you die? Does your kingdom blow up?
I'm assuming because you play as the nation, not as the king or the dynasty, you would get a new dynasty.
they've mentioned that you keep playing if the dynasty changes. Yeah, like you get PU'd. You're in a personal union. There's some other dynasty. You're still playing the same country. It just means that you have the same ruler as some other country. And due to secession law shenanigans, that can change.
Nah, I'd rather blow up.
I hope that there's a way you can blow up.
Let me play a successor state.
I want to see.
Nah, I balkanize.
I've I'd balkanize. I want to see these 8 eligible characters do shenanigans. I want to see tags pop up because someone is like, no, I think I should be the king, or like I want to see Gavelkind happen in goddamn EU5. I want to see that. I want to see that be a thing that can happen.
The Fifth has declared his claim to the county of Nowhereshire.
Yes.
50 people died, and the tavern burned down.
I can't believe it. Nowhereshire, no! It's in ruins.
Not the tavern! It was the one thing of worth in this entire forsaken land.
And then a plague swept through, as always does.
The remaining 70 people died.
Remaining 70 residents
means,
of Nowhereshire died of the plague.
That means there were 120 people there originally? Whoa, that's not nowhere. That's like a bustling metropolis.
In England, goddamn.
In England.
Character stats seem to be very rounded or just fractions of 100, which doesn't feel right. We mostly see 3. Set above historical characters are more rigid numbers. Yeah. Is it just me or are Tinto talks getting progressively shorter each week? Thought the bigger screenshot would hold lots of you to analyze and find out from the bigger screenshot.
Well, everything in the cabinet, which is ours to look at,
I suppose so. It does also, like, because this is like the government tab, and the government tab lets you click on. I was kind of eager to just get through things. So yeah, but you have like there's the Parliament tab, estates, politics, and values. What are these? What are these? And the Parliament? I basically like I want to know what all these are except the estate. Even the estates. It's like I know what the estates are, but I still really want to know how that works. Huh.
Yeah, I know that they've said a parliament or a parliament equivalent is something most every country is going to have, even if it's just like an estates general that call instead. So.
Makes sense. So, these look like they're probably really good character traits too.
I have returned. What did I miss?
Oh, just talking about how like the government tab here, it's just there's all these different. Like, you've got the government window and it's got all these tabs. It's like I want to know what all these goddamn do.
Values is probably for those sliders they mentioned earlier, where your country balances between land and sea, offensive, defensive, quality, quantity, from like one of the earlier dev diaries.
You're right.
Yeah, the EU3 values essentially.
And perhaps then politics
I don't think
might
the art
be
is done, Jamal, because obviously, if you just look at that crown, I think it's sort of just placeholder stuff at the moment.
Not a big fan.
Unfortunately for Joffrey, we probably have more than a year before this comes out. I imagine they'll have more art assets.
No.
Joffrey in shambles.
Yes. This is devastating, but it's probably true.
What will this mean for the trout population?
What will this mean for the trout population? national
He
spirits.
did actually talk about how this empty space, essentially to the right of the monarch and above like his traits and the kid, is where like modifiers will be placed that you have on the country. So
Oh,
yeah, I believe it's in a further comment if we continue on. I believe it's mentioned.
wow.
So I don't think we'll quite have it to the level of Toy 4 national spirits, but you could see something.
Can you form a constitutional monarchy? Depends on your laws. Yeah, all right. I'm betting that like politics is where laws go. I was thinking about saying it, but I need to say it now that he's talking about law. I bet that's where your laws go, and that probably influences a lot of things. Like again, yeah, the kind of government you have, probably your tolerance, and what else?
Your various
Trade?
policies.
Trades? There might be like, yeah, just policies in general. There's probably something regarding trade there as well, in regards to bloody markets. Free trade? Huh? Imagine free trade, 1337.
I am instituting the No Pants Act.
The most important thing. It was the strangest thing. April the 1st, on April the 1st, Edward just walked out of his chambers with no pants, sat on the throne, and said, "Today I decree no pants."
I mean, it could be worse. I mean, and be truly insane. He could have signed the Secession of Violence Act.
I do believe, yeah, Gamalt and Trig. I believe that, things like things like the Vicky 3 laws are going to be in there. I don't know how you'd sign them though. It's probably like I doubt that on
I'm fully expecting there to be instantly some depending on how extensive these policies are, I expect to see some very gamer countries as a result. You know, women's rights, none. Everybody has to serve in the military.
Vector, you're just describing every medieval country right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, these are just normal medieval countries.
It's, everyone can be levied. The women have no rights. What are you talking about? This is just feudalism.
I mean, you're right, but also not quite what I was thinking. But yeah, I suppose that's not totally accurate.
But I do believe, Trig. Yeah, again, probably things like how you handle trade to a degree. I don't know if they do stuff with women. Maybe. I guess there's because how they're doing characters, and they're probably gonna. Yeah, there's knowing Paradox. There's definitely gonna be like some countries in Africa, someplace, and the Americas that are just matriarchal. Yeah.
Or just so that later game you can perhaps role play as a more progressive European state, you know, make it so the succession law becomes absolute primogeniture, or just allowing women to do more, that sort of thing.
I suspect it is the slide. It's going to be, to a degree, the slider that CK3 faiths have. It's not actually a slider, but you know, it's a points on a chart where they fall. And exactly as you say, Trig, yes, the gender roles thing in CK3, yes, definitely. I mean, there's female characters, so I mean, if you change your laws to a degree, then you'd be able to have female characters, and I'm sure that if you've got a patriarchal or matriarchal country, you'll probably be having events that are like, oh, a lady or a dude is skilled. Do you bring him into your court, or wait? But that's a character event. I don't know. But that sounds like something they'd still do, because like you have those in EU4 where it's like, oh, this is like accept the counselor because they're good and make people angry, or no, don't and make them happy.
Usually that's for like a wrong culture sort of deal.
They have that for women too. Like, because you get the lady advisors in EU4, and it's like,
when you were
she's
talking
smart.
about it, I was just thinking of there's an event you can get playing as Japan, basically to either allow female generals or tell them to stop being female generals. So it's a weird one.
I imagine though, yeah, the cultural stuff, because you were bringing the example of just like the Jewish vizier. I am sure that sort of thing will happen, where it'll be like, oh, take this character of a minority faith or culture, and be like, bring them up. They're gonna be in the cabinet. Let Trotsky into your country, Hearts of Iron. No. Oh, I bet there's some bullshit related to that in Hearts of Iron. I don't know like much of anything about it, but I could imagine they would do some bullshit with that. Don't have much else to say about the government tab right now, I guess. Other than, I mean, there's your character's faith, I guess. There's nothing here that's indicating his culture, but the faith is probably more important, to be perfectly honest. There's 3 nations in Hoi 4 that can get Trotsky as a leader? What?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Alright. Gosh, it's getting toasty in here. Woo! Alright. How did expel?
Is it like 16 Celsius up there, Joffrey?
So let's find out. We'll find out. How does expelling pops work? I will talk about how migration works next week. Yeah. I want to know. God damn. Damn it. Just scorching.
What is it?
Finish loading. Yeah. It's 20 degrees!
20?
I don't know what that means in Fahrenheit.
That's 68 Fahrenheit.
Oh. Yeah. Fuck.
It's 28 here.
Weather.
It's gonna get mercifully by sunset it's gonna get down to 17 in the late evening. Oh, I say it already is kind of late evening, but geez. Woo! Oh god.
This guy is so weak.
Just a weak. No, I'm just a widow. Some people in the realm would want certain position in the cabinet, and if we don't give them what they want, get debuff. Player choice in 99% of the cases. There might be events asking you to change them, but those are rare. Okay. Oh, there's a few posts. This is over 4 pages of this.
4 pages worth. Oh, it was
I
only
guess
3 when last I saw it. So okay.
I guess with how condensed the diary was, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that he's responding to. Hopefully, not all of it's
It seems like people seem to like the mechanical direction of this game, but they can't shut up about the visuals.
Visuals other than the characters?
There's been some things about the UI.
Oh, the UI, right here.
For example, yeah, I'm not it isn't terrible, but I'm not a massive fan of the UI we're seeing here. I don't know. Just feels, I don't know. Feel like it could be better. I mean, like I said, it's not terrible, but I feel like it could be better.
I enjoy the colors and the boxes and such here that you'd be clicking on for the tabs.
I want the old dynamic UIs from CK2, where your UIs back then were based on your religion.
Oh, those were good days. Good days indeed. They said a lot of the UI and stuff can change. Yeah.
Yeah, they have, although this particular instance, Johan, I think, said basically this is the style we're going with. So I don't know if that means this is final or if it's just it's going to be like this but more polished. Because I think with more polished, this is fine. But it feels it does not feel polished sufficiently at the moment.
they speak a lot about just how they've talked a lot about how things are placeholders and just a work in progress, but Johan does not do well with insults is the main thing. So when Johan is like when you talk down to this man, he will respond in kind, and you have to read between the lines because this situation here, Johan is being told he likes the guy likes the gameplay seemingly, but he hates the UI, hates it. So Johan has just been told that what he's doing, this man hates it. So his response is like, "This is what we're doing. I like it." Which, I mean, that's what I would do too, probably, to be perfectly honest. But what I imagine is me waffling on, but yeah, I imagine that you're probably right, Vector, where they're still going to be ironing stuff out up until release, because I highly doubt that, again, okay, I'll eat my words if on release day this is the crown Edward's wearing, but I pray it isn't. I actually just thought about the fact that
justify it by saying, well, he's trying to claim the throne of France, so he gets a French crown.
I just noticed that I think the one thing they've done here is that characters are wearing different clothing depending on their skills. Because Edward's wearing plate, and I doubt that's because he's in an army right now. I highly doubt that changes it.
An army. He might be leading an army or serving as a commander.
I'm willing to bet it's because he's got military skill as his highest skill, which would be cool. Is this even a French crown? The crown is just fleur de lis. Like it's just fleur de lis. So, yeah, it's pretty French.
Crown become French.
If Edward tries hard enough, he will stay French. Trust.
Stay French?
No, I know he's very removed from that.
My condolences. One of these days, Bryce is going to hear about how I always end up taking pot shots at the French.
Anyone who hangs out with me is bound to be exposed to a lot of that too, so, I mean...
Well, you're Canadian, you have to deal with the Quebecois. It's natural.
You mean the Quebecers, eh? Yeah. We locked them out of Western Canada right quick. They thought they had a sweet deal. Thought that we were gonna split the country 50-50. They were wrong. You want to watch that? You don't know which. You must draw your. Everyone must choose their side now. Yes.
I mean, I take historic pot shots at everybody. It's just the French are easy targets. Because they have such a strong stereotype going for them.
Few people in the world are as easy punching bags as the Brits and the French. Sad times.
It's their punishment for their periods of imperial grandeur.
This is the style we are going with. A classic style of graphics, but made so they can nicely scale. They can scale nicely. Scale nicely. So as in shrink and expand, depending on your UI.
I assume as in UI scaling, yeah. Which will make Juke happy, since he's been talking about UI scaling so much recently.
Yeah, this could probably scale pretty well. I can see that.
Yeah, each of the tabs grows in width as necessary.
All of this could pretty easily just become larger, along with the text size and such.
Oh yeah, the Americans are also easy to take pot shots at, but I'm an American, so I don't default to taking pot shots at myself. Although I can take pot shots at the American. That's easy, and I don't mind doing it.
In Canada, we're a little too busy poking at each other to insult other people usually.
It's that damn Canadian niceness.
That Canadian niceness ain't tempered easily. We spend all our time being angry at each other, so that when we meet other people, we meet people outside the country or inside our own province, we could be nice. But inter-province relations, no. Mm-mm.
Remember, if you ever wanted, Minnesota would probably take becoming a Canadian province.
There's jokes about stuff like that all the time. I've heard Montana.
I think it's more likely that Alberta embraces becoming an American state. Joffrey's favorite word. State.
Yeah, I love states.
Well, they've got oil, so yeah. Time for freedom operations.
That would look so horrible.
You're right.
Also, have you seen some of our internal state borders? Do you think we care?
No. Do you know what it would look like if Alberta joined the states? That rectangle suddenly leaves the country.
Saskatchewan can join too.
That would just make the blob even a bigger rectangle.
Have you never seen it in frickin' have you never seen America in Vic 2, or it might also happen in Vic 3, colonize the bit of Canada there?
Yes, Vector.
It's so horrible.
Yes, I know. That's why I know it looks so bad, because they colonize Alberta in Vicky 2. And then in Vicky 3, they colonize a little bit of it.
It's so
Rip
horrible.
the Iron Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. We should just take the entirety of Canada. Turn it all into American states.
I think the better alternative is for Canada to get Alaska and Greenland.
Even Quebec? Are we sure we want to have Quebec?
You asked them. You asked them before.
We can make Quebec more like Puerto Rico, where they're not really a state.
Ah,
God.
No voting rights.
That would. They'd be so pissed off if something like that happened to them.
No, our deal with Puerto Rico is a bit different than that. There's a lot of people in Puerto Rico that don't want to be a state because it incurs some sort of responsibilities. I don't remember precisely what my Puerto Rican friend told me.
It's been shifting pretty heavily towards statehood in recent years, but with our political climate, it's unlikely to actually happen.
It should be. It should be a state.
Because Congress has to approve it, basically.
It has more than enough people to be a state, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, exactly. And they pay taxes. So, something, taxation, representation, shit.
Do we know anything about diplomatic corps? I think they've mentioned this term.
Yeah.
But
the corps are basically EU4 corps.
No,
diplomatic corps. Like regiments. Your diplomatic regiments.
They showed Poland starting at war with the Teutonic Order.
Remember Joffrey when they showed
that war, Poland
when they showed how much France's vassals cost them in terms of diplomatic corps points.
So you're saying you don't think that there is a... You know what, that's probably right. I'm still here thinking that you can only actively do so many things at a time with your diplomats. So I'm thinking like you're like just diplomats from EU4, but they might just not have those. It might be just entirely based on your capacity.
Or based on your cabinet.
Hi, Starsky. It's a very short Tinto talk today. However, there's a lot of comments on it.
Still somehow dragged it out to an hour and a half already.
That's right. I mean, we did waffle on about Canada becoming a state for a while, so you know.
Joffrey plans to betray his people for a position as governor of Canada.
There will be a place for me in the new world. My countrymen just cannot see it yet.
Yeah, you know how the Quisling is a term? one day it will become the Joffrey.
The state's attempt to force a cabinet member. If they've got a lot of power, they may try to force a cabinet member. I guess that's one of those events he's talking about, where there's a rare examples where sometimes you get events to put a certain counselor on. Yeah, we give him a heart. Yes.
I am the council.
I'll talk more about development in detail, but development is oh wait, he is actually talking about it. I didn't think he was.
He'll talk about it in detail later, but he's willing to give the general right now.
It's a value in a location that goes from 0 to 100%. So CK3. It can increase over time if you build buildings and have high prosperity in a location. Venice is like 40% at the start of the game. While... Oh...
And then later on, he also mentions devastation, and that can reduce a province's development. So
that
once
place...
again, EU5, the unholy offspring of every other Paradox Grand Strategy game of the past decade.
This is a place in northwestern Iceland.
Just build some roads. I want to have a 100% development Jan Mayan with all 13 people living there.
It's a good idea. It's a good. I think that's crucial. Same as Greenland.
There should be more roads than there are people.
Greenland needs to be turned into a big old strip. I need to look at that map again and see if I can make out the general borders of Greenland's actual county sometime. I want to know.
No.
When do we get our map of the New World? I need to see the map of the New World so that I can see what the Greenland colony is like.
I'm more interested to see what the Andes and Mexico look like.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. However, migratory tribes.
This is before the
migratory
the Inca or the Aztec.
But this is also still during a period where you have actual states down there, unlike the entire rest of the New World.
Yes, I know, but I really want to see what the migratory tribes look like, because they better be a thing that exists, please.
I'm sure we'll get them.
They walk. Oh Lord, they walk.
How do they exist? They walk and have dog sleds. What else do you want to know?
Oh God, he coming.
You do be walking. But I need to see what the I mean, I'm not Blackfoot, but I need to see what the Blackfoot look like. They're gonna have like so much land. It's gonna be crazy. Very strong and powerful nation indeed. The most exciting country to play in EU4. Cabinet action.
Suddenly, all of Joffrey's native neighbors decided to collectively burn his house down.
I said that they're good. I mean, if there were Kree nearby and they heard me say that, they would come and burn my house down, but there's no Kree in the city. The Blackfoot kicked them out. So they have a cooldown before changing. They start, but modifier scale up over time. So it is actually exactly what I was hoping it would be, where you choose the thing, and then it will start to build up to the modifier it says. Okay, that's good. That's good. That sounds neat. So you gotta properly invest time in making something happen if you really want it. So you can assign
in administrating Poland.
You want to play as the natives and at least not get steamrolled by Europe and rise to be at least top 10. Well,
you're gonna have a lot more time to do it.
Yeah,
you'll have more time. I also think it's going to be significantly harder though, because just like the Black Death is going to sweep through and decimate, 60% of Eurasia, smallpox and everything is going to come in and wipe out 80 to 90% of the New World population, probably.
You're going to be able to sit in Mexico. You're going to be able to sit in Mexico or the Andes with your ludicrous numbers of people, and then they all just disappear. They're just gone. Whoops. So, because
Yeah, and
pops
then
are going
you've
to be
got
so
this-
important.
And then you have the strange people with the demonic beasts they ride and thunder sticks.
Thunder sticks and demonic beasts, yes. Ah.
I remember seeing like a crazy graph that showed the population of each continent at like every 100 years or so, and North America and South America just tanked.
Well, yeah, estimations are 90% losses due to disease.
Let me see if I can find it.
Imagining, yeah, I guess that it really is just, ugh. Like, you take the Black Death, but you give like just this horrifying disease like the Black Death to a people with no resistance to the diseases that Europeans develop resistance to from all their animals, and then slap them with many diseases that they're not
Yeah,
immune
it's
to.
this one, and then take a look and compare fifth populations of North and Latin America from 1500 to 1600.
Ooh.
Like, that's just tanked.
Build a
And that's
big
with
wall on the
and that's
Mississippi,
with
huh?
all of the that's with all the Spanish immigration.
Starsky, if you're talking about building a big wall in the Mississippi, that means you're playing a native tribe to one of the migratory tribes like the Cherokee, which means you have even less people to work with.
Well, there was the Mississippi River Valley civilization.
But they collapsed way before Europeans arrived.
Yeah, they collapsed a long time ago. I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
not unthinkable for somebody in the region to be, more sedentary and less tribal.
Map.
Lots of people do, I think, blame it heavily on corn being a harsher crop on the soil than wheat and rice.
Hmm. But they had the potato.
They didn't
Oh,
cultivate it enough.
only South America did.
But yeah, Joffrey, do you see that difference in the Americas from 15 to 1600? It just tanks.
14. North America. 1,000. A couple thousand.
Yeah, that's in millions, by the way.
Okay, that makes sense then. So you go from
About 2 million in North America to less than 1.
oops.
Yeah, so
And like I said,
over
that
half
is
the population, and that's including the European migration.
Yeah, Latin America's worse. It drops from 3.9 to
That's
from
where
39 to
that's where
8.
the actual people are. Yeah, that's like real numbers in Central and South America.
That's bad.
Like I said, 80 to 90%.
Yeah.
They did not have a good time.
You ready for that? You ready for that, Starsky? You ready to play the Cherokee with your couple thousand people and prepare for imminent doom. I'm sorry to tell you this, buddy, but you're gonna have to, if you want to play the Native Americans and win, you're gonna have to become the migration attraction country and convert everyone else to your culture if you want to survive. Because you're gonna lose a lot. Oh god, that's gonna be so horrible. Because it's not even gonna be a case of like, yes, this province is my culture, press button to convert. It's gonna be like you just import tons of people, all the European migrants, and then you have to take so long probably to convert anyone. There's the link. There's the link for anyone who wants to keep looking at it more. Yeah. You assign people roles like general, admiral, etc. to the cabinet and vice versa, or are these tasks mutually exclusive? Can we help cabinet members get better at their job? How does developing a province work? It can only have one roll at a time. No, it's not an RPG. And no pop relation. Except higher developed locations can sustain more pops. Yeah, I guess having more development means you can produce more food there, maybe?
So
Or just
based on what Johan says in other comments, it's more like it's all the auxiliary infrastructure, you know, like roads.
water access.
Yeah, which has knockoff effects on development level, on the ability of a region to sustain large amounts of humans.
That makes perfect sense. What is this respectful disagree? Someone really wanted to be able to like make advisors better at their job. They really want that, just like spend money to get more mana points. How's expelling work? So you could spread your populations from location of your entire nation. Expelling pops is to make people move away from one province. Okay. So yeah, it is not. It's not, I guess. So you want? I don't know. I'll have to see how that actually works then, because then it's not theoretically having people leave, because it. But it's expelling them from the province. But Johan's being so vague here, as he often is. But yes, it's expelling them from that place. I get that, but like, is it sending them like elsewhere in your country? Is the idea like you're spreading them out over your country, or is it you just getting rid of them?
I could see it depending on your the attraction of other parts of your realm. So, you know, if as a general rule, say you are Spain and you already are not very tolerant of Muslims, you're going to have a pretty low attractiveness to the people you're expelling for them to try to migrate. So they're going to find someplace outside the country to migrate to.
That would make sense. And then alternatively, you have examples of what Trig is talking about, where stacking the move pops and attract pops. So maybe if you are expelling pops from one place and then trying to grab them someplace else, you would be able to do some like wacky stuff, like like making one part of your country really developed.
Oh boy, time to replicate the Trail of Tears.
Oh no, all this talking about Native American stuff has got you, Vector. No. So we expel from here, and then we encourage the migration here. So
it's worthless backwater.
Oh no.
Jan Mayen shall be the greatest city on earth.
I actually want to expel from Paris and encourage attraction to Toulouse.
That is certainly a choice. But I'm mighty curious to see what would happen.
Exactly.
If you essentially depopulate northern France and move it all to the south, that'd be funny.
We're all speaking. Wait. Toulouse is Gascon.
It's Occitania.
No, that's too. Yeah, that's Occitan. That's far. That's in the east. Yes, expel from Paris, and then send them to Toulouse. For everyone must become Occitan. Then again, though, depending on how many Francian people, because it's probably a lot of Francian people in Paris, it could be the opposite, where expelling a large number of people, moving a large number of your population from the dense urban area where you have a lot of people of your culture to spread them across a region that's less populated but is of a minority culture you want to integrate. This is a good idea. I wonder if anyone else has tried this in history.
Never.
Sad to see diplomatic reputation make a return since it's a... Huh? Oh yeah! Diplomatic reputation is a thing. I just kind of skipped over that.
Magic.
It's a really meaningless modifier that confers magical benefits. I don't know about that, man. It should only be based on your actual reputation. Could call it diplomatic skill instead. Yeah, exactly. It's not like, because we know what it's there for. It's the point is just like whether you call it the skill of your diplomats, the reputation of your diplomats. The point is just people are like, oh, it's the French. We know those guys. Those guys are really good, or they're really. It's an abstraction. There has to be abstractions to a point, and it's a useful modifier for conveying just that concept of, oh, everyone knows. When the French want something, they'll get it. I mean, the French are probably a terrible example for that, but someone, I don't know, who's an example of someone with good the Austrians. Oh, it's the Austrian diplomats. Oh, they're gonna get what they want.
No.
Yes. Can the cabinet stop you from doing what you want? Hala Conclave. No, this is not CK. Respectfully disagree. No. This is informative, yes. Made you guys decide on 2 as the starting number of cabinet members? Because it felt good. Yeah, they're playtesting. I think it's probably a good number, yeah, because it's like you can have 2 active, essentially 2 active edicts on the go at a time, and maybe some people can have more than that. Will EU5 have governments in exile?
I
Yes.
very much doubt it.
I have no idea why that would happen. Yeah. You're not going to see the British crown flee to Canada because of the syndicalists.
But will EU5
Return
have...
home, crush the syndicalist menace.
Will EU5 have realms in exile?
I mean, it's certainly possible. The more I see, the more I'm kind of tempted to at least get a bare bones version of Realms out for it.
Before Lords of the Universalis 2?
Yeah.
Vector, you must take charge. You must see it coming. You can hunt down the Lords of the Universalis guy and then force him to work with you. If he can be negotiated with.
We don't negotiate with terrorists. This is America.
I ain't negotiating with nobody who makes any half-orc countries in my Lord of the Rings. Half-orc, the half Numenorian, half-orc good religion country on the island in Helkar. Yeah, Hyperborean, half-orc, half Numenorian good.
Didn't he make, like, the 2.5 giants that lived in the Misty Mountains a whole country?
Yeah, and there's also hill
I
giants.
think so, yeah.
The hill giants are a thing. You can also play as the eagles, and there's like 4 different eagle countries. There's like a different eagle country for every mountain range.
Oh, Trig, have you not seen Lord of Universalis? You should,
I've got something to show you later today.
Or have Joffrey show you, because it is a hell of a trip. It is somebody who took everything from MERP that has ever been written and they threw it all on the map. And it is an example of why we take MERP as an inspiration and not as gospel.
I need to
fill in the gaps of MERP with some absolute lunatic shit.
I swear, sometime I need to stream myself just looking at it and talking about all of the whack decisions they made.
You should play it.
Oh my god, multiplayer Lord of Universe.
It'd be glorious.
Why is it, Dark, that we take turns? Who's the one that's saying we should play it, and who's the one going, Every couple months, we swap places?
Lords of the Universe. We should absolutely play this.
Only if I can play the Elves of Belikar.
God damn it, I'd forgotten they had those. Why did you remind me?
All right, Dark.
You
You play Evermist in the.
I hate that name
You
so
play
much.
Evermist. I'll play the Elves of Belikar and we'll meet in the middle.
That is such a fucking World of Warcraft or D&D type elf name. That is straight from one of those two settings.
I'll show you. I'll after we wrap this up, Trig, I will show you. I will show you. Trust. I will open it up. They've just had really good comments on this thread so far. I'm sorry. It's like people aren't repeating a lot of comments, and there's interesting things to break down. Wondering about specific. Will there be offices or positions of distinction within the cabinet, like the Prime Minister? There's a head of the cabinet title, which can be given to a character who gets a 25% boost to their efficiency. This costs money, and while making the estate he belongs to more happy, it also empowers them. Oh, that yet again. This is the sort of thing I just love in these games. Is whenever you have something like that just makes you think. You need to ask yourself questions, you know? Just is it worth doing? It's like it makes them much more efficient, but it's going to cost you money to do. So do you have better things to be spending that money on, and can you afford an estate to be made more powerful? Yes, because that guy's really good. He's a really good character. Make him even stronger, but I don't know. He's a part of the church, and the church are already wringing you dry and shaking you by the boots. There are risks, but it's mostly through events to have ministers becoming powerful. Interactions with the cabinet will be more than assigning them to an action. You tend to want to juggle them depending on your needs. Yeah, it's not a character-focused game. Yeah. You can target the same province with the same. You cannot target the same province with the same type of action.
Yeah, so you can't have 3 people all doing dev on a single province.
Only square-shaped flags. No in 13.7. In theory, yes. No. We know 1337 is the only start date, but will other ones be possible via modding? I mean, yes.
They've said this several times that the functionality is in, they just aren't using it.
And like the in theory, yes, not tested yet. I mean, fair, but I mean, of course it is. Is it possible to add other units than just the basic 4? Some type of mage for fantasy mod? Yes, no limits there. Of course. And I most definitely will be making use of such mechanics. Yes. There are events linked to the actual role in the cabinet, like an imperator. There are events targeting the cabinet, yes. What would happen if you won a war against the Pope and took Rome as an Islamic country? I mean, you'd have Rome, and the Catholic countries would probably hate you. I don't know what else there is to be said about that.
You want to get crusaded? This is how you get crusaded.
We know crusades are actually going to be a thing, so.
Yeah, not just as a Casus Belli type. So.
It will not cost monthly gold to maintain them, and cost depend on age or skill. No. Can all cabinet members perform all actions? Yes. In theory, it could be limited. I guess, yeah, in theory, you could limit and be like, they are the minister of this, the minister of that, and they can only do certain things, but it's an interesting thought.
Boromir, Minister for War.
He died as he lived. The secret police may make sure you obey the laws and pay tax, but they can't make you happy about it. Yes. Bit worried about balance. How will you prevent snowballing if you keep adding cabinet members as the game progresses? You don't get more for being a bigger country. Yeah, they never said anything about being like your government rank. It's tech. It is tech and government type. Just as the game goes along. Yeah, everyone's getting that, really. Will you as a monarch be able to turn your heir into an admiral? Yes, your heir can command armies and navies. Or serve in the cabinet. Excellent, yes. I shall be loading up the cabinet with my family. Spoiler, what?
Nepotism.
This is where the temporary country modifiers will live, as you had said, Vector, yes. Next to the character's portrait. Character development. No, you don't naturally change your character. New characters, you have to pay characters to join your cabinet. Development, all the infrastructure that supports population. Historically, the French Estates General had a say in the state's diplomacy. You don't play the king, you play the country. Yeah. How does migration speed work? It's not a percentage of pop. It's not percentage of pop, but increases how many of those that can migrate will, yeah. You increase control in a province with a cabinet member to the maximum. Can you assign the member to something else and the control decreases? Max control drops when you reassign them, take a rather short period of time. Yeah, it's probably not going to be something you do often, increasing control in a province with a minister, I believe.
Yeah, not by a minister's effect anyway.
Unless you're playing a small country where you don't have many provinces, and it would actually be really beneficial. Oh, I don't see that happening either, because then you'd want to do things like migration attraction. I don't know. So instead of mana, we get dudes. You need more dudes or dudettes.
You must construct additional dudes.
More dudes. Send more dudes. This one bothers me. I have no problem tying actions to culture and religion, but tag specific I have no problem with tying actions to culture and religion, but tag specific mechanics always feel unnaturally gamey and restrictive. It's also the type of thing that is most universally appreciated by our players. Yeah. This is where we get the whole, like, okay, it's okay if it's tied to culture and faith, but only England? Now that's just going too far. I just don't get why is that such a problem for people? I don't get it. If it's okay to tie it to the culture or the faith, then why can't you tie it to the country? Because what are you saying? Are you saying that you'd want to be like, oh, it's tied to the English culture? How much different is that? Are you saying, well, listen, I want to, over the course of the game, abandon the French unique stuff and then take the English stuff, but I don't want to become England, you see. I want to stay as France. It's like, what? This is the same thing. Why would you care? I don't care how they're doing it. It has the same results in the end. Nation-specific stuff is the best way to have unique gameplay. Yeah, it typically is. I'm not going to complain with that. You can do the same thing with culture a lot of the time, I'm sure. And when it comes to me and modding, I'm sure that I will choose either or plenty of times where that way you could be like, yeah, I want to swap to being this culture because I want these mechanics. Something I don't know. How's the cabinet size tied to this? They'll be the same. It wouldn't make sense for for a German one province minor to have the same cabinet size as the Ottoman Empire, even if they would have the same laws. I mean that kind of like I get that, but well, no, the cabinet, I think this specifically, I like that being tied. This is just like tech, and you get over time. This is your specific ministers that you have to do your administrative stuff, and it's actually like it makes it's like one of the things where it's like, oh, being a smaller country is better earlier on, and then or less centralized, I suppose. If you want to have more vassals. And Parliament, though, I don't know how that works, but I am going to cross my fingers that maybe Parliament is where you get that, like, you're a really large country. It grabs people from all over kind of thing. Government tabs look great. Yep. Pumpier Rogue again. My boy. Wouldn't development just be the amount of buildings and population? It's all those things you don't build as a player, like wells and streets in the cities. Yep. Mm-hmm. Can I have Glitterfoot? No. Johan's like, no, this isn't CK, but he responded to that. That's the funny thing. He responded to someone asking if he could have Glitterhoof. Tell me there's a way to lower
Glitterfoot,
development.
show us the meaning of sexiness.
Devastation mentioned. Devastation is the opposite of development. Yeah. Or devastation lowers it, yeah, as we had talked about. There's a loyalty mechanic between characters. I'm disappointed that nobody's figured out the referencing. Okay. Well.
Brave, Sir Robert.
From top to bottom, first is correct. Things modifiers.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Will the people of Holland get the option to eat their cabinet members if a disaster hits Holland? Yeah, I respectfully disagree. This is why can't the Dutch eat their cabinet ministers? Excuse me. Probably we call it development in so many games. People would say, but roads and buildings are infrastructure. Yeah, I kind of like development. I do like development. It's like what? Imperator's the only game where it's called something else. They call it civilization level, and that's just a clunky term. So, cabinet minister stats rolled. Characters stats, there's a bell curve. Yeah, makes sense. Cool. The real question, can I have sex with the cabinet? Can cabinet members demand go into war? The parliament may demand stuff like war. Alright. Alright. Saint Dave responded. Ooh. Oh god. Currently, Sieur only appears in English countries as an analog to the English Sir, precisely because we deemed it uncommon in France. What? But this guy is just called Sir. I thought that was specifically because he's French. Huh. Okay. CK3 players have arrived, talking about Sieur. Sieur. That's not the right name for a knight. Where do characters in the cabinet come from? Other places, some noble families that exist, etc. Yeah, makes sense. Because yeah, local nobles will be a thing they've mentioned. So yeah. Default action that cabinet members can do. No. Have you seen a politician? Have you seen a politician do something unless forced to? I'm just gonna take that real quick. Screenshot of that, Johan. Yeah. Determines the background picture of a monarch, culture and culture and or age. Yeah. The babby has background. Speeches don't count. Speeches don't count as them doing something, Trig. It's to the absolute minimum. Most likely 2 will be the absolute minimum for cabinet members, I guess, yeah. There's a button which kind of looks like a calendar. Should be the ruler history of the country. Oh, okay. The history of the country's rulers. That makes sense. Anti-snowballing mechanics similar to CK2 and 3. EU4 20 OPMs would grow the land much faster than 20 province empire. Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, I do imagine this is a case where like if you like all of the little states in the HRE and then like all of the vassals in France would be much better at managing the land than a single united country like how Spain is. That makes sense. But yeah, it's not really hard to snowball, but I do also imagine that because it's a population-based country, population-based game, yeah, it's... there's just a lot of nuance. We'll have to see how snowballing really does work. I'm sure it will be very easy, though, all things considered, to just blob out of control early on. You just will get less out of it the more you expand. And you will just quite simply need to set up more vassals. I keep talking about how I imagine I'm going to play France quite a bit, because I bet that as France, my first goal will be to, like, I'll just, I mean, I'll, like, centralize some of the vassals and then clean up the clean up the borders a bit, and then set up marches, you know? Whereas, like, you set up things like, okay, this corner of the country, it's far away from my control, so I'll set them up as a vassal and secure that region, make sure it's properly governed, as opposed to the way it is at the start of EU5, where France is going to be just an absolute mess. And yeah, he has a trait that is the knight from chess. Probably something to do with him being brave or knightly. Government rank of 3. Yes. Kingdom for monarchies. That makes sense then. I kind of figured as much. Probably something like county, duchy, kingdom. Yeah. Lots of people live in. Robert Artois de Pays. Yes. Some people claim he was instrumental in starting the 100 Years' War. Yeah, the Robert Artois guy. I mean, the character starts and dies the same amount of admin diplo points. No, adults don't change their skills much, yeah. What are the icons for culture and religion of counselors in EU5? This value is important. Currently only in tooltips. Religion and estate are easy to show as icons. Culture, not really. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I imagine it is a case where you have to hover over the dude, and then when you hover over him, it'll tell you in the tooltip, yeah, Catholic and French. Noble families, mechanic, or random name generator. They are content. We need to get rid of all the content designers and add more mechanic designers or whatever. I don't know. Which one was it? So we can have a John Mayan bear in cabinet. No. Keep the content designers? No. No trig. No trig. Get rid of the content designers.
Get rid of them. We don't need them. We only need mechanics. You agree, right, Joffrey?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
You fucking better, or else.
Anything worth. Don't think so. The 3D artwork mega thread. God damn. People being annoyed about Carpathia. I don't know. We'll see what Carpathia looks like when we get there. Skeptical about the return of, I'll take a dip into here. Splendor mana unlockable abilities from EU4 were rather shit. Yeah. Don't know how they'll work in the end, but I do believe we could probably wrap it up there.
Okay.
I don't think there's a lot more to be said right now.
Yeah.
I think we've exhausted
that was
this.
Such a small dev diary, man.
Yeah. And then this Friday, we get to see the British Isles, and you'll get to hear me just geek as I stare at the map of Ireland and be like, oh, look at all those little shitters. Oh,
wow.
Look at them all.
Oh.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe they've changed it a bit. Maybe they've changed it a bit since we last saw England. Maybe they've no, they won't have made Cornwall a vassal. No, they wouldn't have done that. Especially since
Well,
we actively
I
saw
am-
in that dev diary someone is working in Cornwall.
I am so hyped.
Maybe
Woohoo.
Scotland's interesting. I don't know. Maybe no. Maybe there's some Norse. No. It's not going to be that great.
Hey,
But I'm gonna.
you'll have Norway and Orkney.
I can look at the culture map mode and the resources, and we can laugh about sand. That will be good. That's about.
Nah.
We can. Oh, we'll be able to talk about how shit Ireland's trade is. That will be fun.
True. Honestly, so true.
But with that, I will be ending the stream here. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.